want you to have a glance to that image in the presentation slide, because we are going to talk about that image in a minute. We are going to start working with images in terms of raising awareness, and probably some of you that are very observant might have also noticed that Julia, Cindy, Jane and myself have also a funny image in our background, so there'll be a bit of an announcement around that. So that's a bit of a spice of what's coming. So next. So what it is exactly what we're going to be doing in the next 90 minutes. There'll be announcements and some good news from Brent and myself. Then Julia will kind of lead a session about how are we doing with the policy rollout. After that, we will have a special guest, which is one of you will share the experiences about how to implement safeguarding in the volunteer sector, in the volunteer sphere, more than sector, as is mainly supporting countries that work with sometimes many volunteers, sometimes speakers in churches, sometimes people that comes and helps us for periods of time, and obviously other layers of volunteers. And I'll keep the surprise of who is the member among you that is going to share that experience for later. After that, we'll have a session around role risk assessment, and finally, we will have a session to end up where we will release 2 new resources that we believe will be very useful to you all. So it's a full session pack of content. We will kind of go one through the next, and obviously the slides will be made available. A recording of this session will be made available at the end, and all the materials that we will refer to will be available also to all of you. So you don't need to worry too much to take notes or wonder where will you find certain things that we will refer to, because we will make everything available to you at the end. Okay, so let's do it. So I'll hand over to Brent to make some initial announcements and share some good news.
Well, hi everybody. Hope you. Hang on. I'm not muted, am I? Can everyone hear me? Okay.
We can hear you perfect.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Well, hi everybody. Hope you're all doing well. And just a few announcements to start off. Firstly, would like to welcome Julia into, I guess, the international group. Previously working with England Wales, but now has been seconded, if you like, to the international office. So she'll be, in terms of being able to support the global fellowship more widely, we're really thrilled that Julia's able to join us. So you're very, very welcome, Julia, and it's great to have you as part of this global safeguarding team. So secondly, that we are about to release the new safeguarding videos, so that these won't be too far out, and that we've been able to produce some really good quality videos, which we'll hope to be able to give you a taster of shortly. But this has been possible because we had funding from TLM Australia, from New Zealand, and also from England Wales. And because we had this funding, we were able to produce these videos. So we're really appreciative of that. So I think that this will be something that will be really important and valuable to our safeguarding initiatives going forward. And then just finally, this relating to the bullying and harassment policy review. So this has recently been reviewed, and you will have seen a copy of this already. Maybe it's available, and so that has been revised and is now available for use. And the next thing that we'll be looking at is the whistleblowing policy. So next slide. So safeguarding videos. So firstly, there'll be an introduction from myself, which and also we're having different audiences which the videos will be available for. There'll be videos available for board, for trustees, for DSLs, for managers, and for beneficiaries as well. And so we're not just targeting one particular group, we're trying to target as many different groups as we possibly can. And then thematically around recruitment and for HR, around beneficiary feedback, for partners, media communication and risk assessment. So really trying to look at it thematically, also along defined different groups, and targeting these different groups. And so these videos will be available very, very shortly for circulation and use. And Damaris, were we going to show one of these now?
That's right. We're going to show a snapshot of what the videos look like. So we'll maybe play 1 minute or so of the beneficiaries video for you all to have a taste. So I'll share my screen now, Julia. So I'm going to just play now.
Our goal at the Leprosy Mission is to transform the lives of people with leprosy and enable them to achieve healing and dignity and live life in all its fullness.
We are dedicated to ensuring our staff, activities and programs put you at the center of all we do.
It is our responsibility to create a safe and supportive environment and ensure no harm should come to you as a result of engaging in our activities. You should always feel and be safe with TLM.
Our staff are committed to treating you at all times with kindness and respect, and to taking your observations and ideas seriously.
We'll help you strengthen your integration into the community and fight the rejection and stigma you still face.
It's never acceptable for anyone who works for us or is associated with us to harm or abuse you in any way, whether physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially.
Okay, so I'm stopping it just in here, only so that you have a taste. There is obviously a lot more, as Brent has indicated, and this will be available from the month of April to all of you. So any final word from you, Brent, before we move on?
No, just I think that the quality of these videos are great, and I think that they're just going to be a huge benefit to our initiatives. And yeah, I'd really encourage, once they do come out, for their wide use and circulation.
Excellent. And I see some comments on the chat box. Thank you, Heno, for the comment about quality. And you'll see, obviously, there are presentation style. At times there'll be kind of some other techniques that kind of mix in the videos, but we thought that it was really important, considering that 2020 was such a challenging year to do visits, that we focus in some online material production that can be useful to all of you. But let's move on with some of the news and announcements. Next slide. Excellent. So just 3 more pieces of news. Save the dates. As you see, we have 3 quarterly forums for designated safeguarding leads over the year, as you all requested, to keep more in touch with the safeguarding community around the fellowship. So for those of you that might not have necessarily seen the various announcements that we release about the dates on the year, you have the dates on the screen. So 17th of June is the next time that we will be meeting, but along also with the implementing countries safeguarding leads. 16th of September, we will be meeting also exclusively with the supporting countries, and then 9th of September we will be meeting again with both supporting countries and implementing countries. Maybe a note here, and I'm very happy that in the case of the Netherlands that's already happening. This forum is not only for designated safeguarding leads, also for deputies. In the case of implementing countries, we are even also inviting the focal points. Why? Because we want to make sure that everyone with extra responsibility in safeguarding is aware of what is happening at a global level, is aware of the resources available, and is aware of the support available. So note those dates if they are not already in your diary. And yeah, we look forward to see you over the year. Next, you might have seen from the policy rollout perspective and also from the policy requirements that all countries are meant to do a safeguarding report to the board and to the DSO every quarter. So this is just a small note that we are close to the end of the first quarter. For those countries that have not submitted the report or thought about the report, just take note of that. And if anyone has any question on what should go on the report, because maybe it's the first time ever that you are producing one, feel free to contact Julia or myself. There was already templates that we'll release earlier this year for that purpose, which are quite simple and straightforward. But again, if anyone is a little bit lost about these announcements, what reports is Damaris talking about, please contact Julia or myself after this session, and we'll be more than happy to help you. And finally, and not least important, that's the special note that I was highlighting about the drawings. And there is a note there that some of you might remember about a drawing competition that we released in November, December last year. And we are very happy next to declare a winner, which is Jennifer Kavanagh from Australia. And I cannot see everyone's face at the moment, but is there anyone with us from Australia with us at the moment?
Yes, it's Nerida here.
Nerida. So Nerida, you probably know Jennifer quite well. I might let you, if you do know her, just say a few words about her.
Yeah, so she's one of our board members, and she actually has only joined the board last year, got formally appointed in October. So we've only been working with her for about 6 months, and due to COVID, all of our board meetings have been remote. So I've never actually met her face to face, but she comes to us. We particularly started a conversation with her because she has safeguarding expertise. Brilliant. And has particularly worked on the child safe materials for the Anglican Church here in Australia. So she's really got a wealth of knowledge around safeguarding and education. So we're really fantastic to have her on our board and inputting that. And great that she's seen this competition and engaged with Leprosy Mission in this way.
Absolutely, and we're extremely grateful for her artistic touch. She also, in a snapshot of introduction that I asked her to send me, said that she works with children with learning disabilities and children with autism, and therefore she, as a hobby, produces drawings that can actually transmit the specific messages. And I think that's what it's made these drawings so successful, that we hope will be able to serve a purpose across the fellowship. And I must also say there's been a magic kind of makeup of the drawings by Cindy, who has also a brilliant artistic hand to give it color, to clean them up, and to make them available in all the various kind of online formats that we will need. So this is only a small menu of the drawings that will be available, but there'll be a folder in the DSL Hub from now on, where if you are delivering training, if you are raising awareness, you can pick up a specific drawings. And if you do want a specific drawing with a particular theme, please call us, contact us, and we'll be happy to either ask Jennifer or produce them internally for you, because the concept that has been introduced by Jennifer is so simple that it allows us to produce more as we need them without a huge investment on our part. So that's my other piece of, I think, good news, and very thankful to Jennifer. So we're going to move on to the next session now. And we will be looking at how are we doing, or how are you doing with the policy and procedures rollout. And yeah, I'll pass the microphone on now.
Okay, thank you very much, Damaris, and good day, everybody. Really lovely to see you all today. So, as you're all aware, we have recently revised all our safeguarding policies and procedures, and we're now in the phase of rollout. So we thought we'd take the opportunity just to see how everybody's doing and how we're all feeling about it. So we want to start with a short poll just to get a snapshot of how you're feeling. So there's just one question. How is the rollout of the new safeguarding policy and procedures going in your country? You have 4 options for your answer. You could say it's progressing, but it's a challenge, or we haven't started yet, or I'm not sure, or it's on schedule. So please feel free to be honest. We're aware that there's a huge amount to do and that we're all at different stages. So this is just to get a quick snapshot of how you're all feeling. Okay, thank you. You can see some answers starting to come in. Okay, it's neck and neck at the moment between it's progressing but a challenge and we haven't started yet. Oh, progressing is taking a bit of a lead. Okay, just a few more seconds. Okay, I think have we finished? Okay, so the winner is it's progressing, but it's a challenge. And I think, yep, that absolutely makes sense. Some of you haven't started yet. That's absolutely fine. We recognize this has been, you know, a big ask and that we're all got different capacity, different size teams, and we're all in different places. And 1 or 2 of you are on schedule. So well done to you. But to say it's not a race. We just want to make sure that you're all able to implement the policies and procedures in the very best ways in your countries and that you have all the support that you need. Okay, so can I? Okay. So just a reminder, on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see these are the revised documents. So we have the new Safeguarding Children and Vulnerable Adults policy, which we have aimed to make it much shorter and easier to read than the previous policy. And then we have a procedures document, which is new, and that is much longer and more detailed and really gives the detail of how to implement the policy. We've also revised the code of conduct, and there's a new safeguarding code of conduct. As Brent mentioned earlier, the bullying and harassment policy has been revised, and the new version came out really just a few days ago. And this year we'll also be revising the whistleblowing policy. And we'll send you an email afterwards with all the links. And in case you're not sure where to find all these, we'll put a link to those as well. And then on the right of the screen, we've got different phases of the rollout. We've broken it down into 3 phases just because there's such a lot and we wanted to sort of put it into manageable, bite-sized chunks. So I think Jane has put a link to the rollout plan in the chat, and you might find it useful to have that open because we will be going into breakout rooms in a minute and you'll have an opportunity to discuss how you're doing on different little bits of it. But just to summarize what's in each phase, I won't mention everything. So phase 1, which we sort of plan to be done by the end of January this year, is about just informing your staff and board that we have these new policies. And then to focus in that first phase on translating the policy and the code of conduct and asking your staff to sign the new code of conduct. We're also hoping to complete all the role risk assessments for all job roles by the end of January. We're aware this has been quite a challenge and there's been a lot of questions. So if you're still struggling with that, it's great. We've got Cindy doing a little session about that later on in this meeting. So it's another chance just to make sure you're feeling confident about doing that. Also in that first phase, we want DSLs to have up-to-date safeguarding incident registers. There's a template for that, which again, we can make available if you've not already accessed it. And ideally a designated email address for receiving safeguarding concerns. So that would not be your email, the DSL's email address with their name, but a generic one that might be something like safeguarding at and whatever your domain is. And finally, in that phase, an opportunity for DSLs to sit down with country leaders to look at the DSL role description in the policy and just to look at your workload and just to make sure that you're able to complete the DSL role within your contracted working hours alongside all your other responsibilities. Then phase 2, which is January to March this year, so just sort of coming towards an end, moves the focus onto the procedures document. That needs a little bit of contextualization for each country, but there's highlighted areas in the document where you can see to put in your local contact details of your DSLs and other important roles. And maybe if you need to add something about your local legislation and other just bits of contextualization. And then to ask your staff to sign the policy and procedures, maybe to have a refresher at this point of the year with all your staff to go over safeguarding basics and the details of the new documents. And then to look at all the functions and activities in the organisation in the light of the policy and what needs to happen in each of those areas to implement the policy. So it might be looking at your HR, your fundraising, your programs, your communications. So just looking at all your activities in the light of the new policy. Looking at beneficiary feedback mechanisms, making sure they're built into all your sort of funding proposals. And as Damaris mentioned, first quarterly report also due for this quarter. Then phase 3 is really a lot of continuation, making sure you've got safeguarding induction and ongoing training built into your sort of routine, your annual routine. The videos and facilitator guides that Brent mentioned will be made available. Looking at referral pathway mapping, so that means this is that implementing countries really looking at services available in each location where we can refer survivors of abuse to make sure they get the support that they need. And just keeping going with all the ongoing things from phases 1 and 2. So recognize that's a really long list, but I think we're all making progress. We're all in it together. Please do ask for help on any of the things that feel like a struggle or if it all just feels like too much. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into some breakout rooms, and it's an opportunity really for you just to discuss with each other how's it going, what progress have you made so far, what's been challenging, what additional support do you need. We won't be facilitating the groups. It really